fitness games get a bad rap. Maybe because they deserve it. This is a weird genre of games that has both evolved a lot over time and stayed pretty shockingly stagnant. From being limited to clunky peripherals to everyone freaking out over slightly realistic bowling to modern VR systems, fitness games have become increasingly commonplace within our living rooms, and yet they're all still largely defined as being any game that requires a little more than some phalanges shaken to play them. That's cool, but at the same time it means there aren't really a whole lot of restrictions on what a fitness game can and cannot be, which means titles like ARMS and Beat Saber are considered just as much fitness games as Ring Fit and Zumba. I mean, hell, Pokemon Go is considered a fitness game, and what's really scary is I don't even know how to begin to formulate an argument against that. A vast majority of them seem to struggle when trying to balance fitness against game, which explains a lot why the best quote-unquote fitness games are the ones that aren't exactly focused on fitness. And that is where Wii Fit has always stood out for me. Growing up, my family was one of the millions that adopted a Wii balance board into our household, and we played the hell out of Wii Fit. So in my mind, it has remained not only a game I have a lot of positive memories of, but an outstanding fitness game overall that deserves its spot as one of the best-selling entries in the Wii series of games. It was always overshadowed by Wii Sports because honestly, what isn't? But regardless, I feel like I don't hear enough people talking about how genuinely fun Wii Fit is, which is really weird for a game that sold over 40 million units. So today I'm gonna remedy that. I'm revisiting what might be the greatest fitness game of all time and is one of my great personal catalysts for childhood nostalgia. For once, I'm going to do the opposite of sit down and play through Wii Fit. Maybe that'll help me determine if it's really as good as I remember or if people are truly justified in not giving a shit about it. Now before we start, make sure you're wearing appropriate attire. This is a fitness game after all, so put on something you don't mind sweating a bit in. I had to change into my workout jeans. Also, even if you have played Wii Fit recently, you'll probably have to change the batteries in your balance board. This thing goes through double A's like Sean Combs through baby oil. That joke's still in the cultural zeitgeist, right? Upon booting the game up, we are greeted by the balance board itself, which is sentient for some reason. It's been 2,118 days since I saw you last. Could have sworn it was only 2,111. After changing some slightly outdated user info, the board engages you in some simple tests to determine your center of balance, BMI, and your Wii Fit age, a measure of how your mental and physical acuity has changed in the approximate 5 years and 9 months since you last played. It also has you set a fitness goal for yourself so you have something to work towards. My goal is no change in weight, so to ensure I don't burn off too many calories, I'll be eating pizza rolls for the entirety of my play session. Once the game cuts you loose, it gives you access to a few different modes for you to utilize in order to achieve your fitness goal. The primary focus here is on yoga and strength training. They make up a majority of the activities included and are what the game most heavily advertises in its branding. Wii Fit offers 15 different activities for each, mostly beginner poses and exercises that almost anyone would be able to do, or at least work their way up to. Each has a description of what it helps exercise. For example, side lunges help you stay flexible, and the half moon helps you align your pelvis. Whatever that means. First of all, these activities far and away take up the most room to do, so if you're planning on doing a lot of these during your play session, you might actually want to clear out some space, or if you're vertically gifted, find a room with a higher ceiling. They're not particularly long activities though. Each yoga pose only lasts about 20 to 30 seconds, and most strength exercises won't have you doing more than 10 or so reps. I guess that can be seen as a pro or a con depending on who you are. Personally, given the amount of time it takes for instruction and navigating the menu between activities, I feel like there's way too much downtime between the moments when you're actually working out. It's a real momentum killer. However, where Wii Fit really excels is in creating competition where it otherwise wouldn't exist. Most activities in Wii Fit have some sort of leaderboard to go along with them, and in the case of yoga and strength training activities that use the balance board, you're scored on how well you maintain your center of balance during the activity. In addition to giving you a reason to try these exercises multiple times, it's also a subtle way of ensuring you maintain the correct form, helping you learn these exercises better for if you want to do them on your own time in the future. And that's what I think the yoga and strength exercises are really for, teaching you these exercises so you can implement them into an actual workout. Of course, the game doesn't teach you what makes a good workout or how to structure a workout regimen, but the building blocks are there. In addition to yoga and strength training, Wii Fit also offers 2 additional categories of activities to play, and this is where I got a lot more of this game's value from as a kid. First is Aerobics, which technically offers 9 activities, but it's really more like 4. Hula hoop, get a good workout and align your pelvis. Why is this game so interested in aligning my pelvis? Is this a sex thing? Rotate your hips like you're spinning a hula hoop. Other Miis will throw additional hoops at you and you've got to lean on the balance board to catch them. I just think it's interesting that each instance of the words hula hoop is followed by the rights reserved symbol. I didn't even know it was trademarked. Basic step. Step onto and off of the balance board in rhythm with the music. If you buy the Everlast brand height extension unit, then you might actually get a workout while playing it. Basic run. Run in place in front of the TV because God forbid you go outside. This one doesn't even require the balance board, making it probably the most basic activity in all of Wii Fit. However, I'll give it a pass because it's the easiest one to eat pizza rolls while doing. Super hula hoop. Now instead of one round rotating in one direction, you do 2 rounds rotating in both directions. So it's the same activity, except now it takes twice as long. Ooh. Advanced step. It's almost the same as basic step, except now sometimes you're kicking your feet too. Wow. 2-player run. What could this possibly be? Jog in place with another person in front of your TV. Hope you made pizza rolls for 2. Rhythm boxing. Step on and off the balance board with the right timing while throwing boxing combos. It's still a rhythm exercise, but at least this one feels more like an actual game than basic or advanced step. Lastly are free step and free run, where you perform those activities for however long you set your timer for. The game actually encourages you to change the input and watch TV or something while you're doing this, which I think is kind of smart. Gets you in the future mindset of doing light exercise while you're doing other leisure activities, which is cool. It's like the game's actually invested in my health. Maybe not cool enough to include this as its own game mode, but still. The last category of activities are the balance games, which all involve shifting your weight while on the balance board, and thank God some of these are actually kind of fun. Soccer heading. Head the soccer balls and don't head the not soccer balls. Later stages get very fast paced, so learn to lean well, otherwise, yeah, that's a lot of head trauma. Ski slalom. Lean left and right to ski between the gates as you make your way to the finish. It's a delicate balance of trying to go fast while also hitting as many gates as you can, and I am not very good at it. Ski jump. Jump as late as possible after gaining as much speed as possible by keeping your center of balance over this very specific spot on the balance board. This is one of my favorites as a kid and still is, and I honestly have no idea why. Also, if you lose your balance, then this happens. Nice. Table tilt. Tilt the table and get the balls to fall through the holes. For some reason, the balance board doesn't care whether or not you're actually standing on it for this one, so it's really easy to cheat by just standing slightly behind the board and putting your foot in the direction that you want the ball to go in. Just a little tip for all you Wii Fit speedrunners out there. Tightrope walk. Walk and jump along the tightrope while keeping your balance. This might be the most janky feeling game in Wii Fit, and honestly that kills a good bit of the game's fun for me. Balance bubble. Guide your Mii to the finish through this not so bubble friendly environment. Our table tilt strat also works for this game too. Penguin slide. Catch all the fish because you're a hungry Mii, and there's nothing more that a Mii in a penguin suit wants when it's hungry than massive amounts of raw, uncooked, unsanitized, freshly caught, scales on Antarctic fish. Snowboard slalom. It's ski slalom, except you turn the balance board sideways. These two could probably be combined into one mode, however, I'll hold my tongue for this one because they're both pretty fun. Lotus focus, or Zazen in Europe. It's meditation, but the game tries to distract you by playing various sounds in the background. I didn't do very well with this one, but in my defense, it's very difficult to sit still while chewing. And that's where the activities in Wii Fit end. However, I also have a copy of Wii Fit Plus, which does have a fair bit more to offer. Firstly, my Wii Fit Plus allows you to track your most played activities and offers the ability to create custom workouts or engage in a number of pre-made ones based on particular fitness goals. I still feel like there's a bit too much downtime between these activities for workouts to offer a significant physical challenge, but as opposed to simply listing your favorite activities as in Wii Fit, I think this is a step up because it at least points you in the right direction for aforementioned goals. But more exciting than that is the addition of Training Plus, which offers 15 new mini-games to try, and if you want to get the most out of Wii Fit, then you have to have access to Training Plus because it is far and away the most fun this game has to offer. Miyamoto specifically wanted to focus on games that emphasize the Stroop effect, and so a lot of these games require mental and physical coordination, which makes them way more involved and way more enjoyable. However, it does mean a lot of them aren't very pizza roll friendly. We've got Perfect 10. Shake your hips to add numbers up to 10 or 15 or some other arbitrary total. It is both really easy to lose your balance and for the board to misread your inputs, and that's why I didn't didn't do well. Guys, it was the controller. I'm not bad at math, I swear. Island cycling. The balance board acts as your pedals and the Wii remote as your handlebars as you bike to various checkpoints around Woohoo Island. There's no timer for this one. Instead, you're purely judged on how short of a distance you can do it in, which makes it a pretty laid-back experience and honestly one of the best workouts included here. Rhythm Kung Fu. Punch, kick, and block to the rhythm of the music. It is a massive step up from rhythm boxing and basically renders that activity obsolete for me. Driving range. It is what it sounds like, except now you're standing on a balance board. Honestly, I could play this one all day. The board tracking the shifts in your weight help it feel way more realistic than any other rendition of Wii Golf, and I would love to try playing a full round like this. Your swing would challenge that of a professional. That's what I've been trying to tell them, but Augusta won't return my calls. Segway circuit. These damn moles are inflating beach balls all over the place, so just to run them over with a Segway, I guess. This one is pretty silly and also has a case of hula hoop syndrome, but at least here it makes a bit more sense. Bird's eye bullseye. Flap the wings on your chicken suit to land on the bullseye as quickly as possible. This one is only played with the balance board, which means it's super clunky, really goofy looking, and honestly one of the most fun minigames included. Snowball fight. This one is great. Use the balance board to move from side to side as you chuck snowballs at other Miis. Later stages get pretty fast paced, so you better learn to aim well and dodge incoming fire quickly. Obstacle course. Jog and jump in place with the right timing as you try to navigate a course that continually gets more and more tricky. I beat the advanced course on my first try in years, and honestly this might be one of the highlights of my career as a gamer. Tilt City. Use the Wii remote and balance board to sort balls into the correct pipes. Great for seeing how garbage you are at hand-eye coordination. Rhythm Parade. March in place on the balance board as you shake the Wii remote and nunchuck with the right timing. It is simultaneously the simplest and the most difficult of the rhythm games for me. Big Top Juggling. Maintain your balance and dodge obstacles while juggling more and more balls. This game is special because it manages to work a bit of magic. There's a clown on the screen and on the balance board. Skateboard Arena. Mechanically, this one feels very similar to Snowboard Slalom, except now you're riding over light bars and performing tricks to earn points as quickly as possible. In hindsight, this one seems kinda basic, and honestly, I feel like I shouldn't like it as much as I do. Finally, to cap things off, we've got updated versions of 3 of the games from Wii Fit. First is Table Tilt Plus. It's table tilt, but now with launchers, rotating bits, and sections where you need to tilt the table pretty heavily, so cheesing it like we did before isn't quite as valid of a strategy. Bubble Balance Plus. Now you go through ancient temples in areas of low visibility, meaning you need to move very carefully, so cheesing it like we did before is still an extremely valid strategy. Last and probably least, we have Basic Run Plus. It's Basic Run again, except now there's a quiz at the end. Of all games to do a bonus version of, why this one? There were a few other features that Plus added as well, namely new yoga and strength training poses, the calorie tracker, additional multiplayer features, and the ability to register babies and pets, and I am terrified of the person who bought this game and thought, yeah, I don't need to pay to see a vet, I've got Wii Fit Plus. But that's Wii Fit / Wii Fit Plus for $90 and $110 respectively in 2009 money. It's an okay value at best. If you're really going to town on it and dedicated to using it as a daily in-home personal trainer, then I can sort of see you justifying the cost, but as a pure minigame collection, it's not nearly as well-rounded as I remember it being. Most activities are really short and break your pace before you can work up much of a sweat, and any game that uses the balance board exclusively feels pretty clunky and weird to control. I get the impression that aside from yoga and strength training poses, they were struggling to figure out ways to actually utilize the balance board, especially since a lot of these are just slightly different variations of the same few ideas. I mean, they included 4 different versions of walk in place while holding the Wii remote. I think their creativity might have gotten stretched a bit thin here. Nowadays though, you can pick up a balance board on eBay, sometimes with game included, for around 30 to 40 bucks when accounting for shipping, and for that price, yeah. Just because a lot of the mini-games are somewhat repetitive doesn't make them any less fun. Games like Snowball Fight, Driving Range, Obstacle Course, and even some of the simpler ones like Ski Jump and Table Tilt have always been favorites of mine and are super replayable, especially with the game encouraging competition via its built-in leaderboards. This would make for an awesome party game. Just imagine gathering around the TV and yelling at your friends as you take turns playing Bird's Eye Bullseye. That would be incredible. Plus, as a fitness game, it's not bad. Certainly not as intense or effective as an actual workout, but as an introduction to simple exercises you'd be able to perform daily, it's pretty good. And at the very least, a long play session of anything makes it relatively easy to work up a light sweat. $40 for this is a great price, and if you already have a balance board, then you can easily find a Wii Fit Plus rotting in some bargain bin for $5 or less, and that is an absolute steal. Is it a true substitute for an actual workout? No, and on a normal day, would I take it over Wii Sports? Probably not, and for some people, that's all they really need to hear. But I'm someone who likes variety, and if you're looking for a new minigame collection to try and you don't mind a little more physical involvement than just... then yeah, Wii Fit is a fantastic time and probably a lot better than you remember. Well, all that fitness gaming has got me thinking about ways I can make my life healthier. I know now that a few rounds of snowball fight each day isn't going to cut it. I need to develop an actual gym routine, count calories, cut down on screen time, or really find ways to develop healthier habits. And oh hey, my pizza rolls are done. Yeah, I think that should probably be good.